This properly, DACA. You're not so far away from comprehensive immigration reform. And if you want to take it that further step, I'll take the heat. I don't care. I'll take all the heat you want to give me. And I'll take the heat off both the Democrats and the Republicans. My whole life has been heat. I like heat in a certain way.
Alexandra Smith is executive director of America Rising. Richard Fowler is a radio talk show host and a Fox News contributor. Take a listen. I'm actually have you listen to me for just a second. Mia Love, a congresswoman from Utah, said the president's comments are unkind, divisive, elitist, and fly in the face of our nation's values. This behavior is unacceptable from the leader of our nation. And then this morning, Mercedes Schlapp, the director of communications at the White House, had this to say.
There's definitely been selective leaks. There's been inaccurate reporting on this. I think, quite frankly, when you're looking at this, is the fact that, this issue on immigration, it's a tough issue that requires tough talk.
Are you saying he did not use what has been reported? Is that not true? Yes or no?
I was not in that meeting, but what I can tell you is that he made it very clear that the language was not used, and it's very clear that this is the Democrats trying to derail this process.
Alex, I'll tell you one thing, as a former White House staffer, I'd like to be in those meetings to help prevent any of this discrepancy from happening any longer. What do you think of all of this? We've had about 18 hours to think about it.
Well, look, I mean, the comments were unequivocally wrong. And I think that they're really just owing to an atmosphere of increasing political polarization in our country right now, where it's difficult to have a conversation, particularly on tough issues like immigration. The one thing that was interesting that came out of that meeting that, of course, is being overshadowed now by this comment was the actual plan. And what was interesting to me about the plan is that it showed that Republicans and Democrats were actually closer on this issue than they ever have been before, at least substantively speaking. And so, I think that that's a beacon of hope, certainly for these DACA recipients who are really living on the edge and really anxious about their status, but also for hopefully congressionally passed comprehensive immigration reform.
Well, maybe they are closer, but Richard, in the A block here at the top of the show, Chris Stirewalt was saying that for Dick Durbin, the senator on the Democratic side who is trying to pull all of this together, that the comments they are what they are, but they've actually made Senator Durbin's job a lot harder to get Democrats to come on board.
Well, I think it was going to be a hard job regardless. But I want to commend Alex for being one of the few Republicans who have actually, repudiated these comments that the president made. Not only are they vile, but beyond that, they really do take us down a notch in the world standing. What we have, the thing about Africa, for example, the entire continent of Africa, we are not spending as much money as China is spending investing in Africa. So all we have in Africa is our influence. And when the president makes comments like these, he takes us down 2 or 3 or 4 notches. Our influence on that continent, which is key, vital to our international security. Number one. Number two, on immigration in particular, I think this sort of speaks to a larger problem this president has. Dana, I got to tell you, he's almost allergic to winning, right? He was so close to getting something done on Tuesday after that meeting, after a very good move by him, and he destroyed it all by basically tongue-in-cheek speaking yesterday, and now the White House doesn't really have an answer to it, and now it's going to mull over the weekend, and he's going to be dealing with this all next week as we go into a possible government shutdown.
You don't think we'll have something on Twitter to talk about in the morning, Richard? Come on. It'll be Saturday.
I think they're going to be talking about this Saturday. I think it's going to lead all the Sunday shows. I think they'll be talking about it on Monday. And I think as we get into the January 19th, which is when the government is slated to shut down, he's going to have a problem finding Democrats that are going to be willing to work with him. He's also going to have a problem finding moderate Republicans like Jeff Flake who will be willing to work with him either because they see him as a racist.
Well, you mean that the Republican Senator Jeff Flake thinks that?
I think, there's some Democrats see him as a racist, and I think the Republicans who have tough races ahead of them are not going to want to work with this president because they're looking out for their reelection.
Well, okay, I don't know necessarily about that. I did want to ask you about the Quinnipiac poll. I might just have to give the last word to Alex because you used to be the head of the college Republicans, and I wondered what you thought of this. I'll just give you a couple of top-line numbers. Trump's approval rating among millennials is only 26%, and I won't go through the other ones. I mean, they're pretty much in line with what they have been. Does he have a chance to turn it around, though, if the economy continues to get, it is fully recovered now, and if it continues to do as well as it has been, will millennials start to change their mind, or have their impressions been cemented in their brains?
Well, look, Dana, you know I've been on this drumbeat for a while that the Republican Party needs to be better in reaching out to younger people.
Yeah.
Been saying this for a long time, but particularly with this generation, this is the least ideological generation that we've seen in a long time. So I think that someone like Donald Trump, who presents himself as a problem solver, the Republican Congress, who together they are putting more money literally back in the American people's paychecks that they're going to see next month. I think that could definitely start to turn things around, because they'll see that it's not just talk coming from Washington, it's actually action.
We'll see. I think Richard probably would disagree. But he talked so long, I ran out of time. So Alexandra Smith and Richard Fowler, thanks so much.
Dana, thank you.
Thank you so much, Dana.